Man, I have a cool watch to show you guys today. This is my first ever Akrivia. And what you're looking at here is one of the very, very earliest pieces done by a young master watchmaker who is the biggest rising star in the industry probably, and soon to be, at the very, very top level of everything. And it's just really a pleasure whenever you get to handle one of these, very early foundational works by somebody kind of destined to be important. And these guys come along every so often. You had Philippe Dufour and François-Paul Journe and Kari Voutilainen, Roger Smith, Grubel Forsey when they came, and there's always kind of the next guy who comes every several years. And the guys who really, really look at a lot of watches and know their stuff can generally recognize who that is and who that's going to be. And this young guy, Rexhepi is his name, and Akrivia is the brand, is really sort of the guy right now. So let's see what we're looking at. This model is called the AK-02. It's a tourbillon with an hour and minute hand. So it's actually a fairly simple watch. This particular one is a piece unique. It's the only one ever made with a hand-hammered rose gold dial. So you'll see other ones that have the hammered gold dial, but they're actually yellow gold. It also has custom hands. They're a little bit wider and a rose gold movement, which we'll go back over everything. But let's talk about the case first. So Akrivia really kind of hit it big and got more mainstream notice with their newer classic watch. Now they've made kind of a separate line within their brand for the classic watch, and it actually has Rexhepi's name on the dial. It's still an Akrivia, but this is kind of, obviously a round classic watch is going to appeal to more people. That's the mainstream way to go. I sort of love this original shape. These are what the original Akrivias were all about. And it is super architectural, very unique. The finish is absolutely top notch. It's stainless steel, which is not easy to put a finish like this on. And I kind of love that idea of, you have this guy, really talented, soon to be superstar, and this is just the watch that's in his head of what he really wants to make without any market considerations or anything like that. So I love that about it. And the case is actually really, my first impression when I took it out of the package was how small it was actually. I expected it to be a monster, but the reality is it is actually really easy to wear. I think it's listed at 43 millimeters. It wears more like a 41 or 42. And it's also stainless steel. It's quite light. So I'll show it to you on the wrist at the end of this review, but let's look at some of the other details first. One of the coolest things about the movement is it's actually quite deep. You can see here the depth from the dial down to the base plate of the movement. But the tourbillon is a flying tourbillon, which means it has no upper bridge, and it's situated very high in the movement. So it really looks like it's, you get really a sense of depth into the watch. Normally in a watch like this, the tourbillon would be, a few millimeters lower, sort of in the middle. And then you lose this, this sort of floating type of illusion here. So it's quite cool in person. I don't know if it comes through in the video, how much that appears to be floating. It is, stunningly finished. I mean, this is masterwork in terms of hand finishing. You can see the polishing on the nameplate, the hands here in this aperture, and on the tourbillon bridge itself. But of course, the really amazing finish part is this hand-hammered dial that gives the watch all of its personality. So I actually happen to have a video of Rexhep hammering one of these dials. I'm not sure if it's the exact one, but it very well may be. A friend sent it to me from his workshop. I'm gonna let that roll while I'm looking at this for a bit. But basically he's putting, each one of these is an individual stipple mark. And when you look at them close up, you can tell that they're hand done. You know, they're not totally even and not supposed to be. But when you look from afar, it just gives this incredible textural finish and makes the watch play with light in a way that pretty much nothing I've ever had in here does. So really stunning effect and an amazingly good use of a master watchmaker's hand, and you can really see it there. Speaking of hand, I really love these hands. I've never seen hands like this. As I said, they were custom ordered for this piece, and they, first of all, they really suit it, but also they're just interesting. You know, there's so much about this watch that I find just super interesting in that it's way more than the sum of its parts, and it's kind of, you know, it's classic. It's a tourbillon hour and minute hand, but you know, it's not often that you see a watch where I've never seen the hand before. I've never seen a case like that before. It's just got a lot of really unique elements that come together. Let's take a look at the movement. Again, you have just an insanely fine finish. So like, take a look at this bevel that goes through here, up, now changes in radius around this, back here on that sharp point, and back across. And it's kind of perfectly even and polished the whole way. It's sort of spectacular masterwork in a very subtle fashion that experienced watch guys will notice, and not everybody will. You know, people will take for granted, but that's very difficult to achieve. And then, of course, you have this beautiful black, flat, black polished bridge in the middle of everything that really sets it off. In addition, you've got hand engraved lettering that just feels special. You know, you can very clearly see that somebody's hand made those letters and all these markings. So you really do get the feeling that you're holding an early work of a master, which is exactly, you know, what it is. Let me show you the watch on the wrist. So there you can see, it's really a very manageable size. Again, it's steel, it's pretty light. It's incredibly sort of easy to wear. It gives the illusion of being thicker than it is. I don't think it's actually, you know, once you get it on the wrist, it doesn't feel like it's sitting that high above the wrist. When you're holding it in your hand, you think like, oh, this is a really thick watch. But on the wrist, it wears very easily. It's easy to read the time. Again, this dial, unique, rose gold, hand hammered, and it just plays with the light like kind of nothing else. So I don't know, just a beautiful watch. It's like not a classic watch, not a really particularly sporty watch. It's kind of in between. It could be your everyday wearer. It's just got this, it just feels special, I guess is the word to describe it. You can't help but think and know that this is a very special object when you're holding it and looking at it. And again, it's not like anything else in my safe. It is unique. Not only is it a unique piece, but it is unique amongst the world of watchmaking. It's not easy to come out with a product in the world of watches that is sort of that different and still works. So it's a pleasure to bring this one to you. This is the Akrivia AK-02 Tourbillon. Really looking forward to seeing what other things Mr. Rexhepi has up his sleeve for us. I hope they're not all classic. I know that he's getting a lot of, you know, people love that watch, and they should. It's a beautiful watch, but I hope he sticks to making some of this more quirky stuff too, because it's obviously in his mind and he's got a knack for it. So thank you very much.